If you're gonna do a woo, like back up a little bit.
Okay.
We're back, baby.
Woo!
Yes, I'm so excited. What's up, Mason? How have you
What's up,
been
buddy?
these last 2 weeks?
Oh, it's been busy, 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 like always, which is a good problem to have. I'd rather be busy than not. So,
Yeah, I'm actually too busy. I worked like 16 hours the other day, and it really wore me out. So here we are doing a podcast.
well, you were in Vegas. You're working really hard.
Vegas was a doozy. That was the first time I've been to Vegas, and I'm not going back. Actually, I'm going back for ISC West
Yeah.
in like a few days.
Well, that leads us into our first topic.
What a great segue. Look at us. So ISC West is going to be interesting because our friend Michael Miller, we're familiar with him. He said that there's not going to be as many vendors there. And is that one of the reasons why you're not going, Mason?
So yeah, that's the primary reason why I'm not going. I so the first 2019 we were planning on going. Was 2019 when the no 2020 is when it all went to shit.
2020 was a bad year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we scheduled tickets for 2020 and I was super excited, pumped, all that, and then it all fell apart. And so it put a kind of a bad taste in my mouth. So I wasn't
Yeah.
going to do this year because so many they handled it so poorly last year that I was worried to do any scheduling this year.
Yeah.
So I decided to wait till 2021. So we'll be there
But
2021.
you got to give them a little bit of slack. It was 2020. Like I think everybody handled everything kind of differently.
They did a especially bad job. Like if you followed that on IPVM, it was like we're not
I
going to
did.
cancel, we're going to cancel, we're not going to cancel, we're going to cancel, we're not going to cancel, and then they were like doing just nasty things to their vendors, like saying that their vendors still had to pay for everything, even though
Oof.
there was not going to be a show. So
Mm,
yeah, wait until
yeah.
next year. I wanted to, if you're going to go out there and do it, you might as well make sure you have all the people there, all the vendors
Yeah.
there that you want to see.
Let's let the proverbial dust settle, and
Yes.
then.
Yeah.
But I'm still going because, well, Jake Vole of SS and SI is going to sponsor me to go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm flying commercial though. It's not going to be on a private jet, unfortunately.
Oh man, I'm so sorry
I'll
for you,
probably take a
boy.
lift, not a Rolls Royce, to the airport or to and from the
Oh, poor
airport.
baby.
I know it's going to be tough, but it's going to be fun because Leo Dess, he's going to have his inside lounge. So he's the access control guy. So we're going to do some like podcast stuff there. That's going to be fun. Brent White, he does physical, like covert entry, physical intrusion, penetration testing. He's doing a talk there. So I'm going to do a podcast with him. Stimpro's going to be there. And then our boys at Poet are going to be there as well.
Not
It,
POE it.
it's pronounced Poet according to
Poet.
Joey at Poet.
Not POE it.
So
It's
they have some PoE lighting stuff they sent me. I got to test it out, and I will let you know, Mason, how that goes.
I am so looking forward to it.
Yeah. So what should I expect at ISC West? I know it's going to be a little bit different, but what have you seen in
So
the past?
what I've experienced is a lot of so there's a lot of good. There, Hanwha will have a huge booth. Axis will have a huge booth.
Okay.
Bosch will have a big one. Tyco. I usually Hike Vision seems to have a fairly big one. Um, there's a lot of so my favorite place is kind of the tool area
Okay.
because they're all kind of small booths and they're all just a bunch of guys that have made these tools that they think are helpful and half of them are terrible.
Like one trick pony situations
Yeah.
or what?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, not only this thing pull your cape, it'll terminate, test it, do everything, and trust me, it's $5.99. Five
as,
ninety nine.
as seen on TV.
Yeah.
One of those.
And then there's some guys where they create this product that they think is going to like be the best thing to happen in the security industry. And all it is like different products that they've just bought off the shelf and screwed together. And they're
Screwed
like, no,
together,
this
yeah.
is our proprietary technology. I'm like, no, that's a Neiman closure with a dome screwed on the bottom with a PoE switch in it. And I'm like, I could have made that in my like. Did you make that before the show? Where you're like, we're gonna schedule a booth, and I'm gonna come up with some in the hotel.
That's so bad. I hope we're not referring to somebody in particular.
No, I mean there was this one company that they had something like that. I don't remember though.
Okay,
And
I got
then
you.
there's other guys where they get in, like they have their sales pitch and you are going to go through their sales pitch and they're like, do you do military bases? And I'm like, no. He's like, well, if you ever do, this is what you're going to want to do. And I'm like,
Oh God. It's
right.
like
I don't think I'm going to do one, but
I just told you I don't do it.
yeah, but they're going to go through it. Oh, and then I feel bad. There was this one. It was called Indigo Vision. Indigo Vision. I went to their booth and you could kind of tell that I mean, you could tell I'm a younger guy. Like I kind of show that I don't have a ton of experience when I was there. And he was talking about, the next time you wire up a international airport, this is the type of system we recommend. So, and compared to, I'm sure you've installed a lot of a Vigilon, I'm sure you've done a lot of Genetech, and I'm looking at it going, yeah, I've never done that. And he's going through all these things like, okay, we're going to simulate a cybersecurity attack.
Uh-oh.
And it's like all the systems are going off. We've seen a cybersecurity attack. And you're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go that way, away from you. And he's like, so how do you think you would use this in your environment? Do you think this would be something you'd find useful? And I'm like, no,
No.
I don't think so.
You ever seen shooter detection system? Ever seen those guys?
I
You
haven't
familiar?
seen any in action,
Yeah.
fortunately.
Well,
But
I've installed them in a demo environment, and then
yeah,
we simulated like an active shooter event. We were gonna get like semi-automatic weapons and go in the office, but we thought that was taking it too far. So
that's a shame.
yeah, we were gonna use blanks, but because we wanted to like do it's like a glass break technology, I guess, and it detects
Oh,
it, and like all hell breaks loose. Like to get the alarms and everything. So
hmm.
it was interesting, but I don't know. It's kind of like piggybacking off the fear of other people. So
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Like I think to do active shoot it correctly, there has to be like a lot of work done to do that properly.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't. I don't
yeah.
know.
Moving on to a more uplifting topic,
Yeah.
which is Fiber Connect.
Okay.
We're gonna completely move off of ISC West unless you want to talk anything else about ISC West. Okay. It's going to be fun, though. I'm excited to attend my first ISC West, and you're going to get a lot of content and podcasts, so stay tuned for that. So, Fiber Connect, America Ilsen Tech, they're going to be there. I don't know what to expect, but it's here in Nashville. So, I'm going to be attending their booth, kind of representing them and Low Voltage Nation. So, fiber is obviously a big, hot topic because it is the backbone of our infrastructure, our internet. So it's one thing that we're really getting into, whether it's doing the scholarships with Fiber Optic Association, doing training, mentorship programs. Fiber is like the hot topic. Mason, what are you doing around fiber, if any at all? I mean, I see you do
We
a couple things here and there.
we don't do a ton of it. Something I'd like to get more into, but it's one of those industries where there's a big upfront investment, and you kind of have to be in with, from what I understand, in with kind of the crowd to get more into fiber.
Right.
Um, so for us right now, we primarily, just kind of do the basic unicams and pull fiber we get from Corning or Burktech, and that's really about it. I would like to get a fusion splicer. We have the I think it's called tier 2 testing with our Fluke, but we
Mm-hmm.
don't have the other one that's I'm blanking my mind on. But I don't do a ton of it. I like the Corning kit. I
Yeah.
know some people say bad things about Corning, but most everyone that actually has used the Unicam kit goes, yeah, that's a really good tool. So,
Well, I've never heard anything bad about Corning, but I am fairly new to the fiber optic industry. But what's interesting is that working with like CommScope, like I've heard people say use Corning instead of CommScope that actually
mhm,
work at CommScope. So I've
mhm.
heard nothing but good things about Corning. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
Corning. It's funny. Usually the people. So I called my Leviton rep and I was saying, hey, I want to put in some fiber, and I'd like to use Corning connectors. And he goes, why don't you use our Leviton connectors? I was like, well, quite frankly, I don't want to. Like, Corning is the name. He's like, okay, well, so if you use our connectors, we provide a 20-year warranty. You use our fiber, our connectors, and our housings, we provide a 20-year warranty. And I said, okay, what if I use Corning though? He goes, we still provide the same 20-year warranty. So it was like, so what's the point? He's like, well, I don't like to say it, but I mean, it's Corning.
Wait, so they'll still warranty it if it's
Uh
Corning?
huh.
So
If you Corning connectors, Leviton will still warranty the fiber install. So I was like,
that's
cool.
just that's kind of like a one-off case. That's just one person saying that, being
Well, no,
aggressive.
no. I
But
mean, it's in there, and they certified it and they warranted it. I mean, they did all that, but
yeah,
I think the people that talk bad about the Corning Unicam or that system in general are people that maybe have never used it or heard through the grapevine that the connectors are expensive, but like they just kind of work without any issues. So what I've heard from people in the industry is Corning does much they do very rigorous testing, and so they may not get into something like teeny or tiny fiber, but what I've been told is stuff like that is it just doesn't pass their testing, so then they don't do it. So when we buy something from Corning and it says outdoor rated, I know that it's going to work outdoor, freezing, thawing temperatures, the whole 9 yards. So
right. America Ilsen Tech. Have you used their all-in-one fusion splicers at all?
nope, I haven't used any fusion splicer yet, but I'm hopeful maybe in a year or two we'll have one at the shop. But we don't do enough fiber to justify. I mean, it's a huge expense for
Yeah.
a little shop like us. So
That's the thing I find with the Ilsen Tech stuff, or UCL Swift. They changed their name recently. I'm not sure what that's all about, but UCL Swift North America, I think it's what the new name is. With their fusion splicers, it's more like inside plant focused to a certain extent, because it's like an all-in-one unit. You don't have to buy like the cleaver and like stripper, like it's all built in, and like you don't have to incur this big cost. And the barrier to entry from a financial and training standpoint is very low. So you can just have one, and if you don't use it that much, it's like not a big deal. But you
gotcha.
have something for inside plant, because you're going to be doing inside plant stuff, I'm assuming, more than
Well,
anything.
we done one outside plant where we had to pull like 2,500 feet in conduit, and
Okay.
we had different pull boxes. And I would see that being more useful because maybe we got into a rough situation, we have to splice that. I could see that. Or if you're buying like ribbon, or if you have fiber that's ribbonized and you need to do that. I mean, when you're doing inside plant, in my opinion, up to this point, I don't see fusion splicing being huge, but I'm sure there's a fiber guy right now saying I'm completely wrong, and that's totally fine. I don't have enough experience in it, but
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
I might be completely wrong on that too. But a couple people said like this is more ISP geared.
yeah.
So, but there's always that one guy, or there's multiple like schools of thought on how to do it.
Well, I'm sure if you're putting, we've had it where if we put something in a building, then I've seen guys quoted out where they have three IDFs in a building. They will run like a 24 strand to the first IDF and then just fusion splice it and hop it all the way down to 6 strands to your last IDF. And instead of running fiber trunk for each individual one, they'll just fusion splice it. Now, that just goes against everything that, in my mind, how it should be done. But I guess there's really nothing wrong with that, but it just seems wrong. So
Yeah. So any listeners, feel free to comment somewhere on Instagram or
yeah.
LinkedIn at BIT Inc.
Oh no. We should keep it on the low voltage nation side. So if
I'm
this
wearing.
is clip this out and see what people say.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Will do. Yeah, but I am wearing a BIT Inc. shirt. We're both wearing BIT Inc. T-shirts.
This is what I wear every day.
Oh, you have a.
I have a
that's
polo.
a nice polo.
Yeah,
Fancy. Where's mine?
it'll be in the mail.
Thank you. Next topic, Mason, and that is the charity project. This is a big deal. We're doing a charity project with Libertas Consulting. They're spearheading the operation, so it's going to be in their neck of the woods up in Warminster, PA. I think that's how it's pronounced. But it's through the Bucksmont Chamber of Commerce in Pennsylvania, and we are giving, I think, up to $50,000 of equipment, labor, and and we're going to make a big event. It's going to be like a big meetup, actually. We got people coming in from Canada. So our Canadian ambassadors,
Cool.
Rob and Chris, they're going to be flying down, or I don't know how it works in Canada. I know they're restricting stuff due to COVID, but yeah, Marco's going to be there. Stephen Kleiner, I think Brandon's going to be there. So we got a whole crew going to be running
Is Pierce
cable.
going to be there?
Brandon or
Pierce.
Marco? Pierce? I don't know.
Yeah.
Pierce is super busy. Like he was
Yeah.
busy during COVID. Now he's like twice as busy, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But it's going to be it's the September meetup. It's what we're making it, because we're bringing in like sponsors, like Vertical Cable. Chatsworth is donating a qubit, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then Cable and Connections will be there on site. We have some local sponsorship through like, I think like the Holiday Inn or something. I mean, just like all these just like, we got tons of sponsors. It's really cool. So everybody's just kind of pulling together, and
That's
I'll be
awesome.
there. I'll probably run one cable and terminate two ends, and then I'll record the rest of everybody else doing the work. So it'll be good. Consider coming down, Mason. Actually, we don't
Yeah.
have any more room. There's too many people. But
Ah.
no, I'm kidding, man. You should just come. So yeah, that's yeah. Keep an eye out for that. It's in September, so we're excited about it. Next item on the list is the new community platform. So this is kind of, it's a little hush hush, but I have been sending out little snippets. So it's a way to engage the public and bring them into Low Voltage Nation. So it's a new platform. It's a little more public facing. It's got some really cool kind of community like engagement features, as well as like a better look than just like straight Slack, where it's like a closed off community where nobody can see it. It's a little more organized, a little more clean looking than Slack. So we're really pumped about that. Yeah, so that's coming down the pipeline. Man, we got a lot of stuff in Low Voltage Nation. There's some other training opportunities with Softing and Page. They do copper. So we're going to be kind of doing some Bixie credits around like copper certifying. So Softing does copper certification training, which allows for Bixie credits. So we're going to be working with them. Page, this is something kind of in your wheelhouse, is doing OSDP stuff. And we're going to be doing some training with them as well.
Very cool.
So, and that's Bixie credits apparently. So,
Yeah, I just need to reach out to them about that. That sounds really interesting.
yeah, and they'll be on the hot seat on the 28th of this month.
Oh, cool.
Page will be talking about OSDP cable. So
Yeah, I'd like to be on that. That sounds really interesting.
yeah, that'll be good. And then just to wrap it up on the LVN side, I did talk a little bit about FOA, so the Fiber Optic Association. We partnered with them to do a scholarship for 6 aspiring fiber optic technicians, and that is a big deal because FOA is like the governing body to a certain extent for accrediting and giving certifications, like the CFOT, like that's like baseline certification to be a fiber optic technician. And we're going to be providing that through GoFro. So Lee Renfro out of Georgia, he has a company called GoFro. He's actually the Bixie Southeast Regional Director, but he's also a certified FOA trainer. So he's going to be doing the training for 6 aspiring technicians, and we're going to give them the exams, 38 hours of training, and then they can go get a job after that. So yeah,
Cool.
that's a
Awesome.
mouthful. Let's talk about what's going on in your world. I want to hear about your Ava stuff. So tell me about Ava Security.
Yeah, so we reached out to Ava based on our good friend Michael Miller, and me and Michael may have some disagreements, but we both agree that Ava is a pretty cool platform. So we
Wait, so
we look-
Michael's big on a Vigilon, right? I always see him
Yeah.
talking about a Vigilon, which is a great product.
Yeah,
But
a Vigilon is a very cool product, and it is a good product. I have really nothing bad to say about it besides how they do some of their business practices. But beyond that, it is good. So I'm sure a lot of people have heard about Verkada, and Verkada, in my opinion, is garbage. So
wait, from a product standpoint or a culture standpoint, because I know they've been getting in a lot of trouble lately with their internal nonsense.
yeah, I would say from a culture standpoint, yep, and I would also say from a product standpoint, from a userability standpoint, so to speak.
Okay.
So, what Verkada is trying to do, and I don't blame them from a business aspect, it's very intelligent, is to make an ecosystem where if you don't pay for it every month or every year, then it just stops working. And so people are forced to continue to pay for it. Now, what from my understanding, I could be wrong on this, they don't seem to do much analytics. So it seems to be more focused on a semi basic camera system. Whereas Ava went, okay, why don't we create a similar model to Verkada, but let's do it better. So let's integrate microphones and let's integrate analytics and make the analytics work really damn good. And let's also make a cloud connector so you can use whatever cameras you want and get the same analytics, maybe besides audio, but the same video analytics. And then why don't we make it so that it's on Viv S compliant and it has RTSP output? So if you stop paying for our licensing, you can just take all those cameras and pump them into whatever VMS you have and not use us anymore. You won't get the analytics, but you'll still have a working usable camera. And then kind of the icing on top was that they integrate really damn well with Phoenix, which is on the last episode our favorite access control system. So it's
Your favorite access
my
control system.
favorite
Yeah.
access control
I've
system.
never used it, so I can't say yes or no to that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but
let me
it's better than
clarify.
Brevo. So if you like Brevo, you'll really like Phoenix. Um, if you hate Brevo, you'll really like Phoenix. So
Duly
it's just
noted.
yeah, yeah, and so yeah, we got more into Ava, and we got a couple of the cameras here, and turns out they make like really, 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 really good cameras. Like I'm talking to the quality level of Axis cameras. I believe Axis Q series and Hanwha X series. Like the build quality is phenomenal. So far, picture quality's been really good. Really zero complaints there. The mounts and adapters are good. There are newer companies, so they don't have like a gigantic range like Axis does or Hanwha does, but they're building it out, and I like that the microphones do like triangulation for detection of sounds, and then you can take the camera and you can basically take a couple points on the video and say, okay, these virtual points are this far away in the room, and then it will figure out how far an object is away and then put it up on a map to show you, oh, hey, that person is roughly here in the room. Or if you have a loud sound, it will say, hey, there's a loud sound and it's roughly here in the room. You may want to check that out and pull it up on the screen for you. And then you get the integration with Phoenix allows us to open up doors and whatnot right on the view of all the cameras. So if someone walks up to a door and you need to let them in, you just click on the door and pop it open. So it's it's really slick. They also have anomaly detection. So if you were to have it will use AI to understand your building and then send you alerts automatically based on anomalies that it detects. So it works for businesses that have consistency. For a business like mine that doesn't have consistency, where I may come in on a Saturday or Sunday, I get alerts saying that there's a person at the back door. But
Yeah. Yeah.
for businesses that are more 9 to 5 and have more consistent hours and things happen at a consistent basis, it works really good. And I've seen examples of that. But you can do a Vigilon level searching where you can take a photo of a person or take an example of a person in video and you can say search and find me this person and it will do it. It does a pretty dang good job at it. So if you ever look at the IPVM article on it, it got the best analytic, like the least amount of errors in any analytic like testing. It was on par with Vigilon, which is kind of the cream of the crop. So
Right.
the fact that they are this young of a company and their analytics are that good, it speaks really highly. I mean, they blew Hanwha. Hanwha has camera analytics, and those suck in comparison to this. So um, I'm I'm really blown away by it. I don't have enough good things to say so far. There's been some things that with any system that you bring in, you go, oh, that works kind of odd, or that isn't the way that I thought it would. But once you understand those little quirks, it's perfectly fine.
With the microphones, you said it triangulates. Does it have like two microphones in it,
It
or how
has
does that? It
4 microphones
has
on it.
four microphones. Yeah, it has to
Yeah.
have multiple microphones to triangulate the distance. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think
That's
it
like
also
almost
uses video.
like some of the things you're saying is like it's almost like it could be a shooter detection system. Like
They do have
it'll
gunshot detection built into it. It comes with the system.
so they're putting SDS out of business. Okay,
Hmm.
very good.
Yep. But overall, it's really cool to have. You can do people counting and vehicle counting. So if you say, hey, if there's X amount of people in an area, send me notification. Or if it increases above this area, if it goes above this amount, send me notification. If it goes below this amount, send me notification. Um, but I think with them being as young as they are, give it 3 more years and they are going to be, I think they're going to be massive. And I think they're going about it the correct way. Unlike Verkada, Verkada is attacking, they are taking a product that I don't believe is actually great and they are pushing it as great. I think they take a mediocre product and they push it as the best thing since sliced bread, whereas Ava is taking a fairly great product and they're pushing it as a this is a pretty good product, and I don't think they're overselling it by any imagination. It is kind of crazy how when you do a demo of the Ava system and people go, "Oh yeah, I want that," and they'll literally pay double the price of what we're selling Hanwha cameras at. Like
Really?
I go,
Yeah.
okay, our Hanwha cameras are this amount, and this Ava system is literally double that camera, and they're like, yeah, okay, I see the value in it.
Wow. So they've nailed it. They've nailed the demo and like the whiz
Hmm.
bang features and like the value that it provides and demonstrating that from like
I mean,
an ROI perspective, perhaps.
I quoted a camera system, Hanwha camera system at 30,000, and the Ava one came in at 57, and
Mm,
everyone wanted the Ava one. And they're like, the price point makes sense for the amount of features that you get, because at the end of the day, if a client of mine can have a notification on their phone or to their staff when there is actively something happening, that is worth way more money than going back and going, oh, hey, that thing happened. Wish we would have had a different view of it. If only I
right.
knew when it was happening, I could have changed how it happened.
Right. Yeah, you're
That's the
not
biggest
only
thing.
showing like loss prevention and like the cost, like in the benefit, but you're also
Yeah.
showing like it's like a human life. It's like a safety, like a life
Mhm.
safety type situation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, look at this thing. You could have stopped this from happening because we could have sent an alert out. And the cool thing now is Ava is going to be integrating at the end of the year is an arm and disarm. So if you want it, you can set up so that when you leave, you arm it, and then all the cameras go in like this protection mode, and it'll reach out to a central monitoring station. And with how accurate their detections are, I'm pretty excited to see how this works.
Yeah. So on the ethical surveillance side of things, has IPVM mentioned anything about that? Because that is like the foundation of IPVM, and like they really scrutinize companies that are this good at detecting stuff like AI, body, facial recognition stuff. Have they mentioned anything about that?
So they mentioned the facial detection, and um, Ava's not doing it because there's not enough laws in place where they could build something and be like within the laws of everywhere. So uh, my recommendation in my email to them was that what they should do is partner with Phoenix to say whenever someone swipes into the building, basically just build a profile of them. So when they swipe and they have an access granted, as long as their face looks roughly the same, just keep that going and then use that as the learning model for that person. So then you start building that model, because then I think you can detect better, because then you can start looking at how they walk. You can start looking at what the little things that they do, and you could build a model around that so that you could actually detect if that person was there like after dark, or if that person was the actual person that swiped on the door. I would personally like to see that. And I think that goes beyond facial detection, because if you could build those things into your AI model, which I'm almost 1,000% sure you could do, I think you could have a crazy good detection system at that point. So
Yeah. So you sent them an email with
yeah, and
some
I'm gonna have a phone call
recommendations.
with them on Monday, and I'm gonna bring it up again because that was one thing that I'd like to see that I don't know if I'll actually ever see. But the second thing I'd really like to see was Geofence, which I don't understand why more camera systems don't do this. I would love to create rules based on where my users are at in my system. So, for example, if I and Unify Video does this or Unify Protect, if I'm away from my building or if a group of people are away from a certain geofence, the camera system will send me alerts based on those things. So, like if I get within the geofence and I walk into my building on a weekend, it should not send me an anomaly detection alert because I'm here in the building. So I like to be able to set those things up. They sounded like they never thought of that, which was a little weird, but
Okay.
I think it's a great idea. So
Maybe we should mount 360 cameras on everybody's head in the building. Would that solve your problem for
I think it
geofencing or
would.
no?
I think it would.
Yeah, let's
That would certainly solve the entire issue that I'm having.
send them a follow-up email, and I'll use my megaphone on Low Voltage Nation to push this
Yeah.
forward. That's awesome. Ava sounds like a really interesting company. It sounds like they're winning right now.
Yeah, I think
To a
they
certain
are.
extent.
A lot of OpenEye, which was a company that I used to like quite a bit, that I'm falling out of love with, is because we were promised the world and
Yeah,
we
when
were
they got bought
given
by
nothing.
alarm.com.
Yeah. And the whole idea was is they were going to build this system that had all these analytics and all this intelligence, and it was going to work beautifully, and they were going to have you would have all this great power at your fingertips. And then what it turned into was, oh, we're still working on it. We're still working on it. We're hiring developers. It's going to happen eventually. And like they have it now kind of sort of, but it's so clunky that and it's not fast that I don't really feel like they are I don't really feel like it's ever going to be great because their software is so slow in comparisons to what other companies have built.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that they like to snarkily tell us is, oh well, our base monthly cost is $60 a month MSRP, or $60 a month, or sorry, $60 a year per camera. And they're like, other companies like cough cough Ava are $200 a year per camera. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how much it costs, is if you provide enough value so that at that price point it makes sense. That's all
Right.
that matters.
Right.
And I feel like what OpenEye is providing at $60 a month isn't worth it. And I
Mm.
feel like what Ava, or $6 a year, isn't worth it. And I feel like what Ava is providing at $200 a year is worth it, because when you compare them to what their next competitor is, which is a Vigilon, it sure does look like what they're giving you is quite a good deal.
Yeah. So a
Oh,
Vigilon is a little bit higher than Ava.
yeah, a lot.
A lot. A lot.
Hmm.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you structure it correctly, you can almost get Ava down to the price point of Hanwha X series cameras with a WiseNet Wave recorder. I mean, and sometimes it's even cheaper. So you can, and Hanwha X series are at the top of the line Hanwha cameras. And if I can put an Ava system in for almost the same price, maybe it's a couple $1,000s more, then that's what I'm going to do. Plus, the recurring revenue on that is a key to building an integration business. A service business is around recurring revenue. You cannot build, in my opinion, a truly like beautifully fantastic service business unless you are looking heavily at RMR. It doesn't exist in my opinion. So I mean, you could certainly run a business without RMR, but you're feast or famine all the time.
Right. It's not. It's very, very. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not easy without
Yeah.
RMR, for sure.
Well, it's not easy regardless, but RMR certainly, once you get enough of it, makes it makes it a little bit nicer. But we're still working towards that. We don't have enough of it to I can't quit my day job, so to speak.
Structured cabling, man. How do you get RMR from structured cabling? Is there a way?
Well, you sell other stuff like access control and
I
cameras.
get. I understand that, but you can't like lease the infrastructure or the copper? I'm sure you could.
Well, you could probably do least on the switches. I mean, you can't really do anything with the physical cable, but you can, like Ava. One thing that Ava does that I like that we haven't done yet, but I'm thinking we will, is they do leased systems. So how that works is a customer pays a monthly. Now, I don't agree with this practice for my own business, but there may be larger companies where they have X amount in their operating expenditures. The only way they can get a system is to go do a CapEx. Well, if I can wrap in a whole system in their operating budget, then I can sell them the system.
Gotcha.
So that was one thing that we looked at, because then they lease it, and then after that 5 years, we come in and we replace everything that's old, and they keep the same monthly, or it goes down a little bit because they already have the cable in. So
Right.
then they get all new cameras for less money then, and we get everything up front. So
Yep. That makes sense. Last topic. Do you want to talk about Control 4 or do you want to wrap up? What do you think?
well, we put in a Control 4 system,
And
and it
that's
works
it.
really good. It's on our LinkedIn. We put
Yeah.
Origin
Well,
speakers in.
let's tease the next episode. We'll do some Control 4 tie-in stuff and maybe
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about what you've done or what do you have coming up the next week or so. Any projects in the pipeline that will be completed by next podcast?
We have a lot of big projects that we're working on, so nothing will
Okay.
be completed. But we got about 70,000 feet of cable pulled on one job, so we're getting close. We're pulling, pulling, pulling. So
Wow. That's
yeah,
awesome.
fun job.
So yeah, Low Voltage Nation podcast brought to you by Ava Security
And
and
a
Michael
small
Miller.
section of BIT.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're sponsoring the podcast. I forgot about that. I'll
Yeah,
send you over
yeah,
paperwork after the show.
perfect. Just send me the bill. We'll pay it someday.
Cool, man. Well, it was good chatting with you, Mason.
Yeah.
Another solid episode. We'll get this published very soon, and I'll talk to you soon. Sound
Okay.
good?
Is this where we're ending, like the whole talk?
Yeah, let's just end it.
Okay. See you, man.
See ya.